Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Dave TV for the 2nd of April. The 2nd of April. How y'all doing, everybody? I'm listening to WMAL this morning, man. They're getting really kind of hick-oriented over there. Hi. Well, what was the logic? Here's the logic. They're slamming Jim Carrey. Obviously, they don't like Jim Carrey because Jim Carrey came out and slammed various gun groups and gun rights things and stuff like that. Okay, so they say Jim Carrey's new movie only made $21 million at the box office, and but Charlton Heston's new old movie, that old Easter movie they run every Easter, Charlton Heston got 5.9 million people watching him on ABC over Easter weekend. And they're somehow comparing that, like, 21 million viewers for Jim Carrey, $21 million for Jim Carrey's movie versus 5.9 million viewers for Charlton Heston proves that Charlton Heston's more popular. I mean, it's kind of a nutty, it's almost like if you went to a mental hospital and some little nutty man was sitting there talking Jim Carrey and Charlton Heston and Jim Carrey and Charlton Heston and Jim, I mean, it's nutty. I mean, there are important issues to talk about, and gun rights is one of them, but, this whole tack that WMAL does, I don't know, you sit back and got to say, damn, there's something weird going on at WMAL. I don't think they quite know what they're doing. I think they need to keep Larry O'Connor. I like Larry. He's kind of nutty. He's kind of funny. He's got kind of an entertainment-y kind of thing to him. Kind of like what Fred Grandy had. Fred Grandy, remember Fred? He was on the Love Boat, on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. He'd been an actor. He had a certain sense of an entertainment to him. He knew how to entertain, and I think Larry knows that too. He has kind of a theatrical background. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And they need to pair him with, I don't know, it doesn't work with Brian Wilson. Brian Wilson he needs to go and do something political and get off the radio. I don't know. That's what I think he needs to do. But anyhow, I really liked Tori Clark last week. I thought she was the best. They had the guest hosts in substituting for the vacationing Brian Wilson, and I thought Tori Clark was the best. She has a certain kind of a class to the show. She's a little bit more down to earth than the two guys are, and I like the chemistry there. It works really well. Now they had some other guy on that, Breitbart guy. I don't know. They need to get away from the Breitbart stuff. Okay, that's a little too whack jobby, and they need to center that show a little more. And they need to bring a little. I even think maybe even putting a lefty on the show would be a good idea for the WMAL mornings, but. I think Larry O'Connor and Tori Clark would be a really, really, really good show for WMAL. That's what I think. And I think they would be a much better pairing than the Larry O'Connor, Brian Wilson thing. But that's just me. What do I know? Okay, so let's look at the Washington Post today. Look at this. Really good. What do? You got a 10-page sports section. Okay, you got a 10-page sports section, and you have no ads in it. No ads. Okay, I'm looking at this 10-page sports section, and there are no ads in it. There's not a single ad. Okay, yeah, technically there is an ad in this 10-page sports section for Post Points. So it's a Washington Post in-house ad. But so you basically got a 10-page sports section with no ads. So what do you do with it? You put lots of beautiful big pictures. And they do. They have really good pictures in this paper today. This is good. All takes, look at this. Okay, yeah, the Nats season opener, and they do win, and that's great and all that. But look at that. Youth is served. I mean, they're really, you almost wonder, and we all love the Nats, don't we? But you almost wonder if they're somehow on the payroll of the team. Right? Such really dynamic duo gives us a taste of things to come. The Nationals beat the Marlins 2-0. Whoop-de-doop-de-doo. Look, another big picture of there. And then get to the centerfold here. Look at that. I mean, look at that. Look. Well, whoops. There we go. Whoops. What was broadsheet papers? What do you expect? Look at that. Look at that picture. I mean, that's a gorgeous picture. Isn't that beautiful? And then more big pictures. More big pictures. I mean, it is beautiful, but in a weird way, it's showing that this paper is in serious trouble. I mean, if you run a 10-page sports section on the Nationals, you know, with them glorious pictures and all that, but there's no ads. Man! I mean, it's like, in a weird way, something's wrong here. It's like the giant, gorgeous candy shop, but there's no customers. It's beautiful. It's stuck to the rim with candy and beautiful things, and there's nobody there to buy. It's like it's like an orchestra playing to a concert hall where there's nobody in the audience. That's weird, man. I don't know. You know, I realize it. I realize that, you know, teams are important and supporting your team, but when the newspaper kind of goes over the top, you know, deifying the team in a weird way, I don't know. They need to tone it down. Something wrong. There's something seriously wrong at the Washington Post and at WMAL. But then again, yesterday it was really funny. One of my radio guys emails me about 3 o'clock and says, "Tune on WHUR." And here WHUR, they're playing country music. I'm going, HUR, one of the top-rated stations, a pinnacle of adult, urban, contemporary music in this market for decades. They're flipping their format. And suddenly somebody hits me, it's April Fool's Day. But Mark Clark and Troy Johnson are now, I guess they're now guest hosting the afternoons while WHUR searches for a replacement for Michael Baisden, whose national syndication contract, ended at the end of March. So Michael Baisden, it may be a couple of months before he's back on the air anywhere, if he gets back on the air. But anyhow, so we had Mark Clark and Troy Johnson, who used to be, remember them? They used to be the big fat morning show on 92Q in Baltimore, WERQ, Radio 1 station. Then they've been all over the place. Mark, what he's done, I believe he's been doing some work at WHUR weekends and stuff like that. And Troy's been all over the place. Gosh, Troy remember he had a show on the old 105.7 there in Baltimore. Before it flipped over to Sports Talk, back when it was kind of that HFS talk mix, weird. But he's been all over the place too. So you know, I like them. I think they're really cool. They were pretending to be Brett and Chet yesterday, doing nonstop black country for an hour. And then at 4 o'clock, they kind of said, "April Fools, everybody!" But it's fun to hear that. You don't hear a lot of April Fools stunting like that anymore in the Washington market because basically people are so scared to do anything like that. But it was really cool and it was very funny. And so there. Lots of Radio 1 news lately. You know, Joe Madison apparently is off WOL. Apparently no longer being heard on 1450. But his show continues on Sirius XM, and we did have a DCR TV or wonder whose decision was that? Was that Sirius XM saying, no, Joe can't be on WOL anymore? I mean, WOL's reach is so tiny. What's it, a 1,000 watt station? I mean, why would they even care? But I don't know. Maybe WOL, maybe he's not getting the ratings. I don't know. I never see WOL. WOL rarely shows up in the DC radio ratings. So, you know, but again, it's one of those little piddly diddle signals. So, I don't know. Mito has, I don't know, does Radio 1 even bother with those, HD radio sub channels? I don't think so. They should put WMAL on one of those, or WOL on one of those, so at least it gets some better coverage. You know, it's hard to hear. I can hardly hear it out here in Central Fairfax County. So what the heck? I don't know. Also, we're hearing 106.3. 106.3 now is Spanish. WKDV, which is a station called La Ley in Manassas radio. It's owned by Metro Radio, which is based in Vienna. They've been running, actually getting some decent ratings. You know, 1460 out of Manassas. If you look at the radio ratings, it's like it's often the third top AM were in the Washington market behind, what the remains of WMAL on 630 and 980 WTEM. And then you got WKDV 1460. Now, it's still down there at about 25th or 28th place, but still, it's still the third top-rated AM in the market. And so they just started using 106.3 out of a transmitter on their Manassas tower. And you can hear it here in central Fairfax County pretty well. 80 watts is what I'm hearing. Makes them the third Spanish language FMer in the Washington market, with El Zol on 107.9 and La Nueva on 87.7. Now, this little WKDV had tried using 95.9, but apparently there's a lot of 95.9s in the area. There's 95.9 in Baltimore, 95.9 in Fredericksburg, and 95.9 out in the Hagerstown area. So I guess they were doing some kind of interference, baby. And so they moved over to 106.3. Sounds pretty good. And that doesn't seem like they're stepping on anybody else's signal in that case. All right, folks, hitting the 11-minute mark for Dave TV on this Tuesday, the 2nd of April. Thanks for watching. Live long and prosper.